Next thing that I have quotes for, and Andrew, I may have you expand on what the air conditioning units.
Okay, so last week we had, so the courthouse has 2 AC units up on the roof and in between air handlers. One hasn't been working, for, I don't know, 5 months yet, I'm not sure how it has been, how long it has been. The second one went down last week. Scott Williams was able to come and get a hot source put on it and get that unit back going temporarily. It could last a day, hours, another week, but we're not really sure. But those 2 units do need replaced. We did reach out to a couple companies and got responses back from Scott Williams and Brendan Reynolds. I think it's on our behalf when compared to Apple, BT Reynolds comes in with the lowest bid and the most capable bid for us. Replacing both units on the roof and both air handlers between the ceilings and any other work that needs to be done to get this back going. The cost of that, quote was $14,970. I think I would recommend on that going with this. The only question maybe is some availability issues. This American Standard, this SER 16 is a pretty popular unit right now. He thought we could maybe secure 2 of them in the next week and get them coming, but if not, there could be a lead time. If that's the case, we may bump down to a 15, which is just slightly less energy efficient than the 16, and the price would go down just slightly if we went to the 15 based on availability. But I would recommend staying with the 16, hoping we can get 2 of them in the next week to 2 weeks and go with this lowest bid with BT Reynolds.
So what was?
Scott's was.
Yeah, you should announce them both the bids allowed.
Scott's was.
20,879, I believe.
I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah, I have it. It's
Is that the
20,879.
same unit?
Yes. Same brand, same unit, same everything.
So you're talking 6,000.
Roughly 5 to 6 thousand.
By statute, you have to accept the lowest responsive and responsible bid. You can determine whether somebody is not a responsible bidder. You have to have objective facts that you can articulate. You have to make written findings that the low bid is not a responsible bidder.
Okay.
So everything that I reviewed on this was, here's what it is, so I have no problem.
Okay, there's one question. It's say Reynolds, that's fine. That's really good deal. I don't know how he's good at that. He puts it in, we're gonna have a warranty for so long.
Yep.
Now, when that breaks down, he's gonna work for us. We're gonna go back to Scott, we're going to Reynolds.
It depends. If it's under warranty, then, that's part of this transaction.
Yeah, right.
But just under the bidding laws, what you say makes sense in the real world, but this is government and it's all by statute. So the next breakdown.
The warranty of Reynolds. But after, I'm saying after the warranty, say, if it's good to 6 months or a year, then anybody can work on it, right?
Yeah, if it comes up, you have to determine whether, if it's routine, then there's a statute that applies. If it's more than routine, there's other statutes, but we have to call a public bid.
I think Reynolds would be good, I just don't know that. Same thing, it's good.
Yeah, according to their quotes, I mean, it's the same brand, same everything, same unit.
That's good.
Yep. So I'll make a motion to approve BT Reynolds quotes in the amount of $14,970.
And I'll second that. All those in favor? No. I do have a letter here, a dedication ceremony. I think they're wanting use of the ground on Friday, the 23rd. Problem with that. There's a farmer's market. I'll make a motion that we allow that. admittedly, I don't know if you guys will have to, vote on this community crossing thing as well. I do have the paperwork here that shows the breakdown of who's problem. I think they worked with Rusty on selecting the roads. And actually, I think Colleen received some of those emails from Justin, having.
Will we vote on that, or do we put that in for next year? Put that in our budget for next year?
All I have was a letter of commitment.
Yeah, this,
From an email. I think they're attached.
I guess I thought I see your name on it, I'm sorry.
Well, all I have, I mean, I got the email, but there was no attachment.
Okay, there's the information on, what roads and, the county's portion. And inbox.
Do you need a copy of this or?
No,
Okay. Yeah, I didn't get it.
that's all I have. Items that need to be voted on.
So just put this in the budget for next year, is that right? You don't vote on it?
Yeah, I guess you'll just have to determine where you want to spend those funds from, because it's a reimbursable. Normally, it would, they would spend out of NVH, but I think we're gonna have to keep a close eye on those fund balances, and so council may want to opt for putting it somewhere else.
Okay.
As long as you advertise it, it can always be changed or not used. So.
Have we haven't received our figures yet on what we're gonna get, right?
No,
Okay.
unless they're out there today. I don't know.
Well, I got online on the, they had some revenues and everything, but it didn't have the breakdown for cities and towns and townships. I didn't see that yet. Just like a flat figure for
NVH, I didn't get on there Friday.
I got on there this Friday, okay. Because I forwarded to Stacy at the highway department, okay, because she wasn't aware where to go for some of those figures.
Do you have anything else?
I mean, that was kind of the main thing that we need to take care of the air conditioning. So we can hold it on that, so they got some cooler air up there. Colder.
Yeah, and we'll need to just do advertise for additional, right? Because we don't have any funds.
Unless you take that as some of those capital outlays, I don't know how much you got remaining.
We won't have that. I mean, you can vote on that in August, what
Right.
funds taken out of, okay.
So me, Devin.
Yes.
Getting them there is really, really easy. But then we don't decide about the order.
Both of those guys are working on.
And definitely, I was thinking there's some capital outlay funds available, so you wouldn't have to go to the additional.
Yeah,
Well,
so,
we earmarked, some of that's been earmarked for the radios for the highway department, but they haven't turned in from early on.
you know,
Because I know originally I had asked for 25,000 just for emergencies, and I think that was denied, but I didn't know if you had some others like Riverboat, Revenue. Or-
There is some, but like I said, some of that's been earmarked, but Rusty hasn't turned in the bill,
So
so.
he's not going to be here today because he's dealing with the road situations.
okay, do you know, has he replaced the radios yet?
I saw that.
Not that I'm aware of.
I just
But I thought that was an emergency. He
Yeah,
needed
he
those
was all over
radios
it.
so bad when he came to us for the money.
That was back in February.
Yeah.
Well, unless he just hasn't turned in,
Bill,
I thought he would have turned in the invoice.
because then
I
we'll,
asked,
yeah.
before you left, I asked for. I don't
332,000.
think they've been done.
And what we'll need to, do then, since we got some grant money for the sheriff's vehicle, there may be money in those, couple of those accounts that we appropriated for
I'm getting the
vehicles.
check
So,
on that.
yeah, some
I
check,
haven't
okay.
seen the dollars yet.
One question that I would like to bring up is the discussion on the jail, because somebody told me that Brad Crane was taken through the jail and talked about donating it to the city.
The other day, we did discuss with him that we wanted to meet with him, and he was gonna reach out to his council to see what they could do. We need to discuss what we can legally do as far as turning it over to the city of Covington. I know, looking in the future, we had discussed 911 needs a place, a bigger facility, with whether you have a small living quarters, because this last year when the weather was bad, we had one stuck here, a closet basically, a kitchenette, and a restroom. So Brad was going to talk to his council because they thought maybe if they did put a new fire station over there, they could probably build something on with the specs needed for radio dispatch, so that it's secure, safe, a safe building, and those are details that's going to have to be discussed if we would happen to agree to do that. So there's really no agreements in it, we're just kind of tossing around some ideas, because everything is junk over there right now.
Okay, but while we got the county attorney here, I mean, AIC tells me any building over $80,000 that the fiscal body has to approve it also.
Well, there are exceptions in statute for making real estate disposal with another governmental entity. So check the statute on it. It may
Okay.
still require fiscal body approval, but I'll
Okay.
check the statute on that. In general, there's a huge process to go through if you're offering it for sale to the public at large, but when you're dealing with governmental entity to governmental entity, there's more of a streamlined process.
Okay, yeah, check on that, because, I mean, I don't want to see the building just donated to the city, and there's probably $20,000 worth of scrap steel and bars in there, and the stainless steel sinks and toilets. I mean, I don't think, in my opinion, we should just be giving it to the city.
Right now, from what I'm hearing, when people have gone over there to do a walkthrough, because of the air and everything being turned off, there's mold, and a lot of things are ruined. that are in there. So, yeah, like I said, no, it was just talk.
I mean, does anybody else have any thoughts or concerns about that?
I have a question.
Okay.
You said 911, are they gonna be in part with the city if they do something?
I don't
Or
know,
how does
because
that?
I don't know if they were
I
gonna
didn't
do
know.
like what Attica, pay a rent.
Oh, I got
I don't know, or are we gonna go in? I mean, those are so many factors that need to be discussed.
That conversation that was brought up was totally shot from the hip anyways,
Yes.
just because Brad is here.
I don't think there's
When they
Yes.
brought that discussion.
Huh?
Because
What's
he's
that?
been itching to.
There's not that much room
Yes,
there.
there's
New fire station and 911.
Well, he'd have to build.
Yeah.
The building that the fire department's in now is longer than that lot over
Yeah.
there.
I see that.
Isolated to fit.
Unless they're gonna double deck it.
I don't really think that the county should be in with the city again. We already did that in Attica, and it didn't really work out. I think the county should be accountability by.
And what about the antenna that's over there? Because
Well, to tear it down, well, we're talking 70,000, in the $70,000 range.
Have it been quoted? I mean, have.
Verbal, not written, not a written quote, just a guesstimate it's gonna cost from 2 different vendors.
So who's got to say,
I
who's
mean, I
got the
think we need to
okay
do
on that
something
if they
written.
decide to sell it or give it away?
well, that's what I asked the
He's
attorney to tell us, because since if you're giving it from government to city, I guess I just went by what AIC said, that if it's raised over 80,000, the fiscal body has this to approve, so,
I imagine it does actually check the section.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, just all has to be weighed out on if there's a ability to repurpose that building and what the costs are for that, or what the demolition costs are. And so, comes out the door.
Oh, I did want to let you know, the Reddit grant, I did go up to the meeting with Scott Walker, president of Greater Lafayette Commerce. So the counties that signed up to be a part of this, their concern was that Lafayette was going to get the majority of the money. So we want to make sure that if we committed to go in, that we were going to get a fair share of the pot of the 50 million. So the paperwork has been sent in. They're going to be on a regular basis, so I'll be attending those meetings. So if you have any questions, regarding that status, feel free to reach out to me, and I'm going to keep you updated as best possible.
Anybody have anything else for the commissioners?
I think all that stuff was possibly delivered last week. He gave us a report at our meeting. Our results supposed to be coming in, and they were supposed to begin training things set up for
And there's some training coming up.
the road graders and whatever else they may drop. So I think that was all in play. I know he's been fighting with all this rain, he's been fighting the roads in general without the new equipment. So
And July 7th, July 8th.
down there coming
Roller, the presentation was on July 8th.
in. Yeah.
Hot dogs, and July 7th.
Did he discuss any timetable on pulling these gravel roads back then? That been pushed out?
Well,
It's 100 days.
I think we've been pretty active.
He's
So
gonna start
we'll keep on him on
finish.
that.
100 days.
100 days, I thought.
That, no matter what he's done. Yeah.
So Andrew
Yes, sir.
and Brenda, on these gravel roads, is that the total county? Or what, is it just the north end?
What's that?
On this project, Rusty's project, of reclaiming the gravel out of the ditches?
So I'm not a big fan of the term project. Rusty has used that term. I think and I'm not sure what term needs to be used, but just a long-term goal, I think is a better outlook, because the project sounds like we have implemented something specific for him to do, and that hasn't been the case. He did get some training from LTAP from Purdue. That was a free training on behalf of the county. That does a wonderful job. When those roads are done the way they're supposed to be done with the right equipment, they look great and they drive great. The problem with it is you can only do so many miles at a time efficiently to make it done right. I think we can all sit here and agree, I think Rusty would say this too, that they got a little bit in over their head with the amount of reclaiming that they did initially, with A, not all the equipment they needed, and B, not being able to put that back regardless of the equipment that they did have at the time. We told them right out of the gate, get it pulled back in, which hasn't happened totally, that they got the new equipment. I think for us, we just have to keep on them, to keep going. Whatever they try to reclaim, that's great, pull it back in, and then start fresh with the new equipment so they can do it all in one pass deal. When they started, they need to finish. If they do 5 miles and 10 miles and 1 mile, I don't care. They need to start and finish the process in one contiguous time effort. So whether that's a week or a day or whatever that takes.
So did you want to close your meeting?
I guess,
Okay.
joint meeting.
Okay. Has everyone had a chance to look over your minutes from the June 14th meeting? Any additions or corrections? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve them?
Jim?
Jim, Keith, and Kelly, second. All those in favor? 6-0. Okay, review and acknowledge treasurer's bank reconciliation and monthly comparison report of funds. Everyone had a chance to look over those. Is there a motion to acknowledge them? Bill, Tom, second. All those in favor? 6-0. Report of collections and some, as submitted. Is there a motion to acknowledge the report of collections? Dale, second. Tom, all those in favor? 6-0. Commissary report, did we get that?
I thought so, maybe, yeah, I thought it did. There you go.
Okay. Everyone see the commissary report?
I didn't.
Yeah, I don't think it was
Do I
attached, so,
wait for the next meeting or?
yeah, let's wait till everybody,
I apologize.
okay, so we'll. Okay, additional appropriations, public hearing, it's now open. Anyone have any comments? Public comment about additional appropriations? Hearing none, we'll close them. Okay, Garth, resolution 2021-21, county general ambulance, additional appropriation of 40,000 vacation and sick and 30,000 medical supplies.
So, good morning. I dropped an email to all of you explaining why I was asking for this additional appropriation. Dudley, you brought up a question reference to vacation sick with the deputy director, being moved forward in his position. So, kind of answer your question in a little bit is with the influx of our run numbers, we need to put somebody in the office, another person in the office to help with the building and that. I talked with Dudley last year, proposed it, it was approved. So one of the things I wanted out of this deputy director was help with billing, processing the bills, either doing deposit, helping write out receipts, to cost of coding them, to be ready to put in the system, to chasing down bills that we have sent out that have been sent back to us and returned to us. Maybe I had the wrong address or whatever. Also, he was to help with scheduling, making sure shifts are covered, not particularly him, but covered by part-time. And also, in the busy time, he would help out with staffing the 4th ambulance so that we had 4 ambulances staffed. Also, he would help out in that spur of the moment, somebody calls off sick or there's an open shift. He has fulfilled all of those obligations. Where we're running into the issue, where the challenge we're running into is we run into this, seems like every year, and it's hard to predict, is I have a lot of people, not a lot, but I have 4 people at 20 days vacation. I have 3 or 4 at 15 days vacation, and then I've got like 2 at 10 days, and then there's 4 that are in the first year. So, they're utilizing their time, because they lose it at their anniversary. So if they don't use it, they lose it. And that's just been the way it has been for years. I think the other issue we're having is we are seeing the repercussions from the pandemic. We were exceptionally busy last year. A lot of the things that were asked of them, they're taking more time off. I got a lady out on FMLA right now. She injured herself. So that's an open spot. I've had 3 family emergencies. People have had to take time off. So he is and myself, the two of us, have been covering shifts for the last 3 months, just to make sure ambulances are staffed. To answer your question, the 14th spot that we had asked for back when I started in 2001, we had 10 positions. Virginia Shear asked for 4 additional. We had that up to about 2008, 9, 10. She was asked not to fill that spot. We ran for quite a few years not filling it until this year. But we were spending out a lot of money. If you look at records, last year we spent out $168,000 in vacation sick. The year before was 145, 148,000. I've been asked, we've been budgeting around $115,000 to $120,000 in vacation sick. So between, family emergencies, FMLA, people being sick, take care of the family, we've had to spend more money. So to save the money on the vacation sick, I think we got to base it off of what I spent. So if I spent 168 last year, that we would be saving on that, not off of what I proposed, what I had budgeted for 120. When you look at that, I asked for 120,000 last year for my 2021 budget. Or correction, 85,000 is what I asked, but in 2020 it was 120,000, excuse me. I based filling that 14th spot off the 120,000 instead of what we actually spent. So it makes us short. So asking this 40,000 would put me at 125 for this year. Everything runs the way I hope it runs. We should cover that. We should cover the rest of our expenditure for the year. But I can't predict. There could be another person go out on medical leave, family emergencies. I can't predict that at this point. So that's why I'm asking. I talked with the commissioners. We looked at that. I originally asked for 20. We bumped that because we didn't know where we would be at the end of the year, and we were trying to eliminate coming back at the end of the year and asking for an additional. We want to just do it all right now. So that's the reason why I'm asking for the 40 in the vacation sick. If you look at that, that will put me at 125,000 for this year. I think we'll be close to, that's what we'll spend. Last year I spent 168. So we're going to save, fingers crossed, we're going to save almost $40,000.
Okay, but when we moved the guy up to the assistant, we didn't fill his spot?
Yes, we did. We filled it, but what we filled was an EMT spot. That was the 14th spot. He was included in that 13. The 14th spot, which was we'd had for years and we had dropped it, that was filled with an EMT.
I guess just where I'm getting at is we have one more person than we had the year before, but yet we're spending the same amount of money on overtime.
Not quite. I mean, we spent 168, we're going to spend 125.
Oh, I thought you said 120 last year.
I asked for 120 last year, but I remember I asked for an additional 40, which puts me at 160, and then I had to transfer even more money over in to cover the rest of the year. And what I made a mistake, I'll be honest, I made a mistake was the 85,000 I did this year. If you look, I put in my proposal 85,000. I took the 35 out, which is about an average of an EMT. I took it out of 120. And what we should have done is probably left the 120 alone to see where we land at the end of this year. That's where I'm at, where I'm short right now, but I can't, like I said, medical leave. I had one lady off for a personal emergency. She was off for about 3 weeks. I had 2 gentlemen with family emergencies with their family, mother and their dad. They had to have time off to take care of them. And like I said, I got one off right now. I'm not going to let them medical leave.
Okay. So towards the end of the year, if this doesn't cover it, we could take some of that salary and transfer it instead of
That's the
getting
plan.
additional.
Typically, I have a little bit left in overtime, but I can't predict how it's gonna go. I mean, and I got some stats here for you guys too. I want to go through with you also where we're at right now. We're running about 8 runs a day. We're just nonstop. And like I said,
So 40,000, 85, so 125,000, we're still 35,000 less than what we were last year. If we do this.
and that would be, if you think, that would actually be the position.
Okay,
So I'll admit I made a mistake.
okay. Is there a motion to approve resolution 2021-21?
It's gonna carry him to the end of the year, you say? $40,000. How long is that gonna carry you? You don't know that for sure?
If I go up, so what I figure is I look at what I spend out over the pay period and vacation sick. If we stay on them numbers, we should be okay. But that, I want to make sure, I can't predict what's going to come down the road. I mean, last year, I had 2 people go out on FMLA, on medical leave act. One had heart surgery, the other one had a family and take care of his mother. Plus, I had that open spot. Now we filled it. I got a lady out on medical leave. She should be back at the end of this month. So there's a lot. If everything works out, I hope this gets me through to the end. But like Dudley said, we should be able to transfer some funding from overtime down to offset that.
Yeah, from her salary, because if they're on FMLA, they're not being paid, so that money can be transferred. if we get
Are you,
towards the end of the year.
Okay. Are you getting people from other counties to fill a position when you're short?
Yes.
What are you paying them? Are you paying the
Right
same
now,
price? that we-
Part-time paramedic makes $17.50 an hour. And right now, I'm reaching out and we're probably gonna have to discuss raising that. There's some places now paying part-time medics $20 and $21 an hour just to get them to come in. Now, we'll have to discuss that, but I'm just saying is they're going other places to work because they're making $4 or $5 more on an hour.
That's if you can find somebody to work.
And that's the other problem we have is the key is.
Everything's becoming a trickle down effect.
And then right now, the problem is, Carol and I were just talking a little bit ago, is that the education side right now is really challenging. The state of Indiana came in about 2 years ago and changed the program. They used to offer their own state test. And the success rate on that was like 90%, 95%. They changed and went to the national registry. And the pass rate right now in the state of Indiana is 54% first time. And second time pass rate is maybe over 60%. The test is a lot harder, a lot more complicated, and a lot of people are like, and the requirements that they're requiring these guys to have, they're like, I'm gonna flip burgers for $15 an hour.
Yeah.
So it puts us in a bind, puts us in a huge bind, and our run numbers are not changing. I mean, we're running, like I said, eight calls on average every day. And this, when I started here 20-some years ago, we typically always went to 3 main hospitals, Crawfordsville, Danville, and Williamsport. For, Terre Haute, I was on the truck the other day, I took one to Terre Haute, a 3-hour turnaround. Champaign, Lafayette, we spent a lot of time on
I
Lafayette.
see you guys in Lafayette all the time.
So it's not, we're looking 2.5, 3-hour turnarounds. And, that takes a truck out of service, out of service because they're on that call. That puts a burden on the system with the other 2.
Are we still making a lot of runs to go Warren County?
Yeah, I don't know, I wouldn't say a lot of runs, but we're probably doing at least a couple, 3 maybe a week possibly. And the They're in the process of changing their staffing now. Their corporate changes it, I don't know, but it's proposed. Right now, they have one truck staff, second truck is an on-call truck, basically. So that first ambulance goes out of county, and their second truck staff comes in and staffs it. Their challenge is sometimes they can't staff that second truck. They'll still do the transfer or whatever with the first truck, which leaves their county empty. Now, that puts the burden on the neighboring counties, Benton County and Fountain County to cover their calls. Now, how often are we over there? It depends. It could be 1 to 2 times a week, or it may not be any. How often does this happen? It's probably about 3 to 4 days a week.
Then why aren't we billing them?
We typically, what we do is we bill the patient, we get reimbursed out of the patient.
Okay.
That's a discussion that will have to come from the
Well,
commission.
does Warren County have to come over to Fountain County in it?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, there is one thing in there that I'm trying to work with Trina on. If our truck is a basic life support, not ALS or BLS, we call for them, they do charge us for their fee for that. I'm not sure that's fair because we're covering their county, but the only difference is we charge their patient. If we go over and pick up a patient, we charge. So, I guess it's on how you interpret it, is it, do we charge them every time we go over there, plus the patient? That's a discussion.
Are they charging the patient when they are charging us?
No, because they charge us and then we charge the patient and we have to pay out of ours.
And I think we ought to be getting the commissioners, we need to talk to the commissioners about making out an agreement with Warren County.
No,
I think it should be the same both ways.
we're getting, you're about 3 or 4 months.
How are transfers charged compared to an ambulance run?
What do you mean?
Do we get paid more for transfers than we do on ambulance calls?
You mean like just a regular transfer, or are you talking a 911 call?
Whatever you.
The transfers he's talking about are from hospital to hospital, right? Or over there in Warren County.
No, you mean for us, we go over and take their 911 calls.
Right.
We don't do the transfers out of the hospital.
So are they getting paid more for the transfers out of hospitals than what we're getting paid for their runs?
Depends on if the person has insurance. If they don't have any insurance, they don't get done. And we ran into that situation a few years back. We offered to do transfers out of the hospital, and we got stuck with the non-insurance people. I stopped that real quick, because we were doing transfers in Annapolis, I wasn't getting paid a dime.
The transfers that Warren County does from St. B to the other one, those are internal transfers, are they not?
Yeah, for them, yeah.
That's for them, so there's no fees involved there. They're taking care of themselves.
Right.
But it's leaving that county over there.
Right, which then we're having to cover the 911 call, the 911 call.
Dork, I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you have a breakdown of how many times you guys run to the Badlands?
I don't, roughly off the top of my head, it's probably
I'm just
3 to 4
I'm
times,
just curious.
3 to 4 times a weekend. We can pull it and get exact numbers.
I know there's been times where you've been called out there and then no sooner get called back out there again.
Yeah, it runs in cycles. Like, knock on wood, we weren't there this weekend, and we got there before the July weekend.
That's shocking.
Yeah.
And I do notice that I've been told they've purchased more ground and they're making it larger.
Yes, there's discussion that, what I've been hearing is he's going to put in a concert area so that he can have.
And he's also
concerts.
been annexed into the city of Utica, so he will now have water and city utilities out there. Yes.
That's
So,
interesting.
yes.
Well, and I've also been hearing, I've also heard through the grapevine, I've got to sit down with him because there is some festivities coming up that we're going to need to know.
Well,
As you know,
that's what I wonder, because if he does have these, there's gonna have to be an ambulance stationed out there
Yeah, that's what.
full-time during these events. So is he going to pay a per diem or a demurrage rate for
This
the?
was actually explored, I don't know who was still on the council back then when Jenny was here. She looked into that. Actually, I think Troy Meyer was actually on it then.
Mhm.
There was a discussion of a fee being put on that. And I think Troy kind of said, just kind of a nice way that, no, we're not gonna pay you a per diem for that. You're already charging the patient, so you're already getting reimbursed for your fees already. That's been, oh my gosh, I was back when Jenny was the director, and that may have been like here in
You know, if he has events out there and you guys get continually called out there and it could be 2 ambulances getting called out there. You know, he doesn't have a quote unquote triage center that I'm aware of on site.
And that's the things we want to sit down talking about, because we're in the middle of working on a concert here in our community. Down Matt Martin's doing the Luke Bryan concert. We're working on that. From what I'm understanding is Trace Atkins is coming in like October 9th, which is another big country star
Is he
singer.
coming in or is it going to be a virtual concert?
I was told he's coming in person,
Okay.
but I don't know that until I talk to
And that's
him
at
about
the
Badlands.
Badlands.
I was told it was in person.
So if they have these events and they want service, there's gonna have to be some sort of contractual agreement with them
Absolutely.
that they can get demurrage. They're gonna sit out there and wait for 12 hours or whatever.
And if you don't
You
have a
could-
run, you don't have
Yes.
anybody to bill.
Right. And that's a waste of, you can run from there, but, call comes in, you can say, I'm out, but they're gonna want you there.
Right. But those are things that,
I think our best bet on that is to get commissioners and get a county ordinance put in place with the money aspect, because you're taking people out of service for this event.
Yep.
And a large event should be cleared through the county commissioners anyways, before we have it. We're talking like, they sell out tickets at this Luke Bryan concert, it's 20,000 people.
3,000 is what I heard and it's sold out.
So it's,
At his farm, at his house is the way I understood it.
yeah, the max tickets to sell is 20,000.
Yeah.
So 20,000 people and 8 police officers in this whole county from the sheriff's department, that's ridiculous. So they're gonna have to come up with us and hire outside agencies to come in and help us.
Yeah.
Along with guard.
and that's what
Have to have more than one ambulance.
Yeah.
in this place.
You'll have
And
to
I
go
want
to
the fire
Crawfordsville
station
or-
there too, so we burn them.
Yeah.
so there's a lot of things in.
Yes, yes.
And one of the things, I don't mean to get off on a tangent here, is, you guys need to vote on this. There's a lot of things going on in our community. And, Jim Lee and I talked, I propose, and we'll talk about it in the budget time, is I'm proposing to bring on 4 more people to help out on the overflow because of our run numbers and that. We'll talk about obviously in budget hearing time. But as I was telling, talking to Jim a little bit about it is, the challenge you guys run into is all this activity going on in there, and the tax base isn't there because of a lot of reasons, And unfortunately, are the services that are being asked for, I know it's getting challenging to fund that. I mean, the sheriff's department the same way we are too,
My question is, they're gonna have this concert, is anybody from this concert gonna reimburse the county for their services?
Well, that's where we're at.
That's what we're working on now,
That's, we have another meeting July 22nd to discuss that.
yes, to answer your question, yes. Now, to get the particulars of how it's gonna be, that's where we're meeting with her on the 22nd. nail that down. But that was one of the very first questions that came out in our meeting back in April was, are we going to reimburse or are they going to expect us to be down there on a voluntary basis? And we as a group said, we said, no, we're not going to do that. So I reached out to her and asked her and she said, yes. Now, we got to work out the negotiable side of that and how that's going to work.
And they've sent templates out to guard and the sheriff's department on what they feel is required of the departments. So if they got an idea of how many they're gonna have to.
They can be prepared, sure.
There's a lot of things going on in our community and obviously the services on my side is going to be taxed, you know, on that. We're trying our best to cover all that, you know, the best of our abilities, but it's pretty tough.
I'd say you need next week, get with the commissioners, they still having their meeting next week, okay? And the county attorney, and we need to get an ordinance drawn up that these concerts are gonna have to reimburse the county for our services.
It's not on, kind of, I just got called out, sorry.
Okay, so we have a motion by Kelly on this, resolution 2021-20. Is there a second?
I'll do it.
All those in favor? 6-0. Okay,
I just had some paper stats to give to you. Do you want to go through that now or do you want to wait, come back?
why don't you do that at the budget hearings?
Okay, you want me to give this to you at that time?
Yeah,
Okay, I can do
yeah,
that.
because then, because we're gonna be discussing staff at that point.
Okay,
so
yeah, I just want to give you whatever.
That way it's fresh in our mind.
Mileage on invoices and that's on here, so. Okay, you guys have anything?
I know we do the ambulances every other year, but I think Colleen did put in advertising anyway that for an ambulance for next year, and then we can discuss it.
I was hoping that we could stay on that every other year. I know you and I have talked about it quite a bit, and that's where with our increase in numbers on runs and our mileages, I just don't know if we can sustain skip another year and look into 2023. Right now, the truck that we've got in right now is getting, you know, remounted. They're saying the chassis September with a question mark. So they're not even sure if it's going to be here in September. And then it'll be 60 days after delivery of the chassis to be completed. So even at that, you're still looking 1st of December. Okay. So I think that, you know, at the end of the day, we're not able to, but I think we're going to have to really look at another one. And I would recommend remounting another one. I've got a nice Lifeline box. It's probably top of the line. I would like to remount and keep the cost down. Right now, I'm hearing a brand new ambulance is around 225 to almost pushing 300,000. Reason is the aluminum in those have went up. The price on them has went up 200% on aluminum. Now, will that come down? It could be in the all everything. I don't know.
I don't see I don't feel like you're gonna have much of a reduction in runs. I think this is just set a precedent and it's not gonna change.
And
because people are afraid.
Right. Well, and the other thing too is that if the other rumor that's coming out of Badlands is true, and I don't know this, I've not talked to Kyle. He said their comments are being made, he's looking to put a hotel out there and an amusement park.
Mhm. I heard the same thing.
But I have not, I don't know how
I
true that
definitely
is.
heard the hotel.
But I did definitely hear the concert venue or concert facility going out there, which that's going to increase.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and we just now opened up a new assisted living out here on Pearl Street.
Mhm.
That's a 50-bed facility. We're here in development of housing in behind it too, so.
Has it opened?
Progress is great.
Assisted living?
Yeah.
Yes,
If it's
it opened up
open,
last
that's no
Thursday.
cost.
Oh, okay.
They got their first patient last Thursday.
I could-
Open house was Saturday, and then I think they're starting to move people in more this week.
Yeah.
They're talking about the one in Covington here, right?
So-
Roco, what do you call that?
You know,
Roco Springs or something?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
On behalf of Park and his crew, the EMS crews take a beating emotionally.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Especially through the COVID thing, they went through a lot because they were treating family and friends.
Mhm.
And so it takes a toll on them. So the money we can pay them doesn't do it justice.
What does EMT in another county make? You said $17.50 for,
We pay our part-time $13.50. I think most EMTs are making around $10 or $11 an hour in other counties. From the last I was mentioning, from what I'm understanding is paramedics in Park County make what my EMTs make on it, full-time. So I know that the full-time paramedics in Parker, Benton County make $17 an hour full-time. So.
but if we're losing,
We're very competitive. We're actually a little higher than most places in some, but the part-time is where, the part-time paramedic is where we're going to have to look at how we're going to increase that to make it more competitive.
thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Sarge.
Yes.
Okay, resolution, I thought we had already voted on this, that 18.5.
I thought we had two.
Yeah, to put that money back into, from the sale.
You may have, but we have to do
We didn't do a
an
resolution.
additional appropriation. It had,
Oh,
Okay,
I talked to State Board of Accounts. They have to have it as an addition. You just can't
okay,
put it in there.
okay. So even though we're reimbursed, it's still
Yeah.
gonna be an additional, so I need to add that to our additional. Okay, so resolution 2021-22, that was the sale from the county auction to put that money back into MVH, $18,500. There a motion to approve that?
I'll make the motion.
Kelly. Second? Jim McKee. All those in favor? 6-0. Resolution 2021-23, E911 statewide fund. Do you not have full staff?
No.
No,
We
having
were
trouble getting people?
We were doing pretty good, and then I had, a full-timer quit, like, mid-rotation, with no notice. And then I hired another full-timer, and she was doing really well. She was her in of her training, and she started doing the EMD portion, and I think she got scared of, like, answering 911 calls, because the EMD is where you learn how to answer 911 calls and stuff, and she quit. So, everybody's working a lot of overtime, and everybody's really burnt out. So, I have one starting August 2nd. Actually, I'm supposed to have two starting August 2nd. One is moving back home from Bloomington area. And then one is supposed to be coming to us from Tippecanoe County Dispatch. But I'm really hesitant to say that she's coming because they get paid $2 more than us. But she said that wasn't a really big deal to her because the drive, and gas and stuff, and she lives right here in Covington. Their benefits are better than ours. Vacation time and personal time and insurance. So I'm kind of holding my breath and hoping she doesn't change her mind and stay there. So I do know I have the one coming and starting August 2nd, and then I'm just praying that she doesn't change her mind.
So again, like with Garth, if we're not full staff, we do this 30,000 later in the year. If you need more, we transfer some from salaries because we've got the money in.
Yes.
More than not being paid.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Is there a motion for the $30,000 for overtime? I'm sorry. Oh, Dale, sorry, Dale. I've got too many notes here, I'm writing down things, okay?
I'll second.
Okay, Jim McKee, second. All those in favor? 6-0. Yeah. And, I mean, there's still gonna be some discussion about
Okay.
converting that jail. I mean, that I hope they don't want to give that to the city. My opinion is that,
So was my
Okay.
understanding that the lawyer, the attorney was looking into it?
yes, because see, what I'm going by, AIC has duties for county council, county commissioners, all the offices. It says here, county council, one of their duties is authorizing certain purchases or sales of county-owned land. Well, when it says certain, that kind of draws a red flag to me. So I called AIC and they tell me, and they even gave me the the Indiana code for it that says if it's anything over 80,000, appraised value of $80,000, the fiscal body, the council, has final say on whether we sell it or give it away. But now the attorney was saying, well, it's a different thing if it's the county's giving it to another.
Another municipality.
Yes, and so he's gonna have to look that up, and plus AIC was gonna check some more on it and call me back on that, there's gonna have to be some discussion with the commissioners and council on this, so.
Okay. So they can maybe just give it away.
They might be able to, since it's a city, I mean, it's a municipality, so that's something the lawyers are gonna have to look into.
I can tell you as a 911 board member, I am totally opposed to moving our county entity into a city building. Because it would be a battle of powers, I believe.
Yeah, we had that problem in
She
Attica.
doesn't work for
Right.
Brad Crane or the city of Covington, she works for the county.
Right.
And I can
Well,
totally against.
I haven't heard anybody else's
We put
opinion,
to a
but
vote, then I'm gonna do a vote.
okay, well, I'm totally against giving a jail to a city. But I don't know what anyone else is.
Well, it's
opinion
kind
is,
of
but
crazy to give it away and then turn around and rent space from them.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
You can't, I mean, you shouldn't just give that kind of property away. I know it costs money to tear it down, but surely it cannot cost $70,000.
No, and maybe it can be I mean, some,
It's also.
the jail part probably,
Like
yes.
that's corner on that city block. that's
Yes.
owned by the county. So
I would probably tear it down and just keep it and put your whole county in it. You got the tower's gotta stay.
Yes, the tower's already there and,
I just keep tear down, I know there's probably pals right here in town, they tear stuff down. I get a quote.
I'll call Pals today and get a quote.
okay. But we're also getting quotes on convert, just
Right.
tearing off the jail part and
Right.
what it would cost
Keep
to
it running in the
keep the offices there.
So if they shut down the services, what kind of interior environmental concerns are there?
That's right.
Fire,
That's right.
I mean, who would want to move in there?
You just need to
Right,
walk-
you just
you just need to walk through it. You just need to walk through it.
Well,
It's-
It needs to be torn down and just moved up. That would solve a lot
Okay.
of office space.
I can't believe it.
But we also gotta watch it, we built, I mean, that's the problem with the sinking of that is because they just put the old jail in there and that was all sandstone, the limestone and just crumbled and that's why we had a problem before.
And if there's anything underneath that, you have to let that set for almost a year before you can actually build anything on it.
Well, my thought was to build on the opposite
At
side.
the end, yeah, down the other end and then you could always add on.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a parking lot where the jail is built.
Yeah.
Be on the solitary.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of options I think we need to.
It is nasty. The water will shut off, but evidently when it's done right, it is unlocked. It's
Okay.
terrible.
I know when I went through it a few months ago, it was horrible
Oh,
and
it's
everything
really
then, but they're, I mean, those steel bars are
There's a lot
I
of
mean, there's a lot of money in, I mean. just
Especially
selling
right
for
now.
shrimp. Yes. Okay,
Thank you.
okay, thank you. CEDAT, resolution 2021-24, CEDAT fund. What economic development? What's this?
$300 is Warren County's bill, and 1,000 is to cover some expenses on this ready deal.
Oh, that she's talking
Yes,
about
there
with
was
the
a-
other
it was-
county. Okay,
I forget how much was budgeted, but we had to pay $2,000 to get in on that,
okay,
and this
cover
should
that.
be enough to.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve that motion?
I will.
Okay, Tom, second. Dale? All those in favor? 6-0. Transfer request, county general to jail from laundry. $3,000 from laundry to kitchen. Is there a motion to approve that? Bill, second. Dale? All those in favor? 6-0. Health Department, a transfer of $3,000 from printing and advertising to housekeeping, maintenance, and repair. Is there a motion to
Do
approve
we know
that?
what that's for?
I did not get an explanation, they just want to transfer, that's what they asked for, it was in the email. Let's see, I printed the ledger.
So they didn't give us a request or anything?
No, it's just,
Well, if you want to,
I'm kind of curious to know.
okay.
I mean, if it's for cleaning supplies and stuff,
We can,
just curious.
we can wait till next month and call it down.
Did they give you a bill or anything, Colleen?
no, this is what I got.
Yeah, I'd like to transfer.
They're just moving money because they want to use it.
Yeah, we can,
If you guys want to go for it, we'll go for it, but I'm just curious.
want to wait till next month, get it,
Let's wait.
okay? We'll wait, tell them we want more explanation. Okay, CEDAT, from computer hardware to a website, $11,000. And I asked, oh, we need to sign this. Yeah, that's one. Okay, so we appropriate $3,000 a year for our website. And so Colleen's checked into this. I listened to the commissioners meeting last month and they were talking about there's going to be $35,000 for a web. They want to spend $35,000 for a website. So Colleen checked and she checked with Montgomery County, who does theirs, this company called eGov Strategies. And they gave us a quote for $16,300. And that covers 3 years. It's $10,800 for the initial development and design, and then $2,750 for the next 2 years maintenance, which is less than what we were paying, $3,000, what we budgeted before. So, and also with this, people can download documents and forms on this new website.
I utilize the Montgomery
Do
County a
you?
lot.
Okay, and Colleen said that we can, when we advertise things, which is $600 to $800, we have to advertise it 3 times, tax sale thing 3 times. And if we have a website that she can put this on, we only have to advertise 1, so we save $600 to $800
There.
every, for the sale. So I think it's a good investment.
And their website is user friendly.
Okay, Montgomery County?
It is user friendly. I mean,
I do have another, they give me examples to go to on some other websites they've done. I mean, it's across the United States.
I think they do Tippecanoe County too, because theirs is set up very similar to Montgomery County's, and I utilize theirs quite a bit too.
I mean, we can put our minutes and our agendas, and we can put meeting schedules and times, all that on this.
Yes, and when I talked to that Jeff that got back with me, he said each department would have one person. So like the auditor's office, we designate one person for the minutes and what have you. And clerk would have her designated person because we had a problem with the community crossing grant, or no, it was USDA grant of the sheriff's department. The paper called me at 5 to 4. I was struggling to figure out who had access, how to get a hold of that person, just so we could get the grant advertised properly. So this will be I know it seems like a lot of money, but I think in the long run.
I do too.
And people call this person every day, 5 days a week, got a copy of the zoning ordinance. You guys cannot believe how many people want that thing. It's almost a daily, and we need to say our website, go to our website.
Yeah.
And they all stop her. Well, we looked on the website, we couldn't find it.
I just think it makes our county look a little more professional.
Absolutely.
It streamlines it, and it takes all the questions from you guys on some certain things.
And what'd you say,
Makes it easy.
Montgomery County pays
Yeah.
how much?
This is
Montgomery
easy.
County,
Yeah, you bet.
the 35,000 is why we based it on that much was in Montgomery County 2 years ago or 3 paid 25,000 to have theirs done by this company. So we were just inflation and make sure we had enough. That's where the 35,000 came from. But I called him and I think it must be based on our population. He immediately asked, well, what's your population in your county? And I told him, and then he came back and he's been very good. He said, I'm gonna send you something. He sent this for me to look at that day. And then he said, I'll have this to you Tuesday and Wednesday. And he had it to me Wednesday morning when I come in. So,
Response time to them.
yeah.
They set it up. Who looks after it? They do, right?
Pardon me?
Who looks after that website? Who maintains it?
eGov Strategies is the one I reached out to, but each department would have their own designated person to upload or make any changes to their page. And we could have loadable forms on there, like for exemptions, clerks has different things that people need.
That'd be the only way that we can maintain it, make sure we got a person who's responsible enough to keep it up to date, because that's what they're asking. I think it's a good deal. How much was it again?
It's 11,000.
11,000?
Well,
I thought
actually,
one-
that's what we're transferring over, but the total is 16,300 for 3 years.
Do we need to make a
We're
motion
paying.
today?
Um,
Do we need to make a motion for that today?
Yeah, I think we probably, it's not an additional, it's just a
Yeah.
transfer, so.
There's 15,000 in the computer hardware. I think I'm gonna have to buy a new laptop, but I don't think the laptop will be that expensive. We haven't touched that line item this year. So, at least if I could get the 10,000.
Yeah, the down payment's 10,800 is what we pay, and then 2,750 on the 1-year anniversary for the next 2 years. So 10,800 is what we got to pay right now.
Our initial response was to wait till the first of the year, but when the price came in so low, I shouldn't say low, came in that way, I'd like to get started on it now. Just
So it's in place and running and by the end of the year. So.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, so Tom made a motion to approve the transfer. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Kelly, second. All those in favor? 6-0.
thank you.
Okay, surtax, wheel tax, if we're gonna make any changes to that, we have to do it before September 1st, and it's gotta be advertised, so we really need to decide today if we're gonna keep the surtax, wheel tax the way it's been. Is there any discussion on that?
What is it currently? It's like, I remember you telling me, Holly, but I can't remember.
Trucks, it's $25 added on for each vehicle. Passenger vehicles are 25, motorcycles. And then semi tractors are $20. Trailers, some of this small trailers, $10, $20 on the others. Buses are all 40. Okay, so that's what it is. So do we want to leave it?
I don't see what would be a need to change it. Because of the new road, I think it's not a process.
It's, yeah.
I mean, if we got big trucks and track, but Jim, you kind of shook your head down a while ago on Andrew's answer to that. And is this gravel road project, is that gonna be all right in your area? Have you seen, because you're up in that north end and.
If they complete the start, but they gotta do it all the time, they just can't cut one side or. No,
Okay.
I've got the south side, well, they didn't do anything from Gary's house to my house.
Right.
But from my house west, they just
Yes.
did all the road up
Yes.
on the south side, and they have to come back to the south. I'm gonna take the blame because.
Okay,
So-
Do the math.
So therefore, my understanding at the beginning was they were gonna do the north end 100 days, so many miles per day. In 100 days, they were gonna be done with all the north end. Well, I guess that's changed. Now it looks like that. Here you got it, and you get it corrected and get it all folded back in. And what time it takes, it takes. That's what I heard today. I thought maybe. So if it's doing okay, I mean.
It's gotta be completed all at one time, it just can't be piecemeal.
And there's a lot of big outfits traveling over the roads and so on. I don't like to raise tax. I don't like to see that raise, but the roads need to be held together, you know?
Did they complete the road? In yours? Oh, okay.
They didn't?
No, they,
did a road somewhere.
Mountain Road, which is over there where Lawrence Duncan lives, north of Lawrence, it's a mess. It's, and Jason can't even mow. He's like waiting them out, seeing if they're gonna fix it so he can get down there and mow, and that's rinsing ground. So the landlord's coming Wednesday. So he said, I wanted to get it mowed up, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to get to it. Because he said it just throws rocks everywhere.
So what's our advantage of this? So the whole county is gonna be done, that's the way I understand, in time. And this is supposed to be reclaim all this gravel, and by the end of next year, we should see an improvement in the roads that has this done.
You guys need to go take a look at Tippecanoe County.
You
They
said
do
that last.
theirs totally different, and there's no cut berms on the side or nothing. I don't know what they do, but their gravel roads are pristine.
How they get your money to.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, obviously they have a bigger population and they have more funds available to them, but they use a road grader, but the way the guys got that road grader set, and I know they went to road grader school, and a lot of this was done well before, Rusty's time, but doggone that. They don't have that in Tippecanoe County. I don't know what they do, but they don't have that.
We just approved how much money to get the equipment to do that project, and my understanding is in the whole county.
It is, but I think the way they're gonna do it, the way it was explained to me is they're going to do so many miles at a time and not like a bunch of miles, not like 10 miles. They're just gonna do so many miles and then go back and get that all completed and then start again. Is the way it was relayed to me.
I have a meeting Wednesday night, and one of the Tippecanoe County Commissioners will be there. I'll ask him about that. Gravel roads. Okay. So back to the surtax, wheel tax, do we want to make any changes to that?
Do you think there's a need to change it?
I don't think let's look at what our money's gonna come from the state. I know we had to put in money to the county highway, but, you know, people already complain about what their license plates cost now, and we raised that.
Right.
I'm okay with
I think I'm okay with it the way it is right now.
I do too.
Okay, so is there a motion to set our rate at the same that it was? Okay, Jim. Second. Dale, okay, all those in favor? 6-0, so we'll leave the wheel tax the way it is. Okay. The resolution to transfer 50% of the budget to rainy day, the attorney did not get that drawn up, so we'll have to do that at our next meeting. Anything else? Oh, okay. Colleen has your budget worksheets. You can take those and look at before that at the August meeting. She'll probably have some changes to put some new pages in.
Are we going, you want to say anything about this today?
Well, that's what we discussed.
No, I mean, during the commissioner meeting, you mean?
Yes, yeah,
So we got a bid.
We got a bid and they're gonna, and then we'll, what was it? How much was it? 14,970. So Colleen's gonna look and see what funds we have that we wouldn't have to advertise. If we've got some funds, we can take it out of, and we'll vote on that at our August meeting. Okay.
Are they gonna go ahead and get them ordered, or what are they doing?
Yeah, I believe that.
I think so, because they said it would be question mark on when they might be in.
Yes. Yep. Yes. So
I think there's money to be,
okay.
I know
Without doing additional.
when I was doing the budget, there's 25,000 in Riverboat.
Well, oh, yeah, we talked about that, Andrew. We haven't received the check yet on that grant for the vehicles.
I have not. I know, we got the formal, maybe I need to follow up with John McGee. One of them.
Yeah, if you want to.
I can't.
Probably get some of this meeting.
I'm gonna be gone the rest of today and tomorrow for conference, but I'll try and shoot them an email. Okay?
Okay.
What I was talking about is all three of those chimney and the whole thing. Is that what they decided?
That they're getting quotes
I don't know.
for the boilers.
I would assume Andrew was, but I'll follow up with him.
And then, but these other things will be correct, the chimney and the air, like if we're gonna need 2 new air conditioners.
You send it to all kinds of
Just take a look at the rest of them and we.
Yeah, we just did
There must be
the
something going on, 'cause
911 and we did that
crazy.
one, but.
That'll come up, right?
So let me, Tom, that's the question, and I want to verify. So the commissioner said that they are getting quotes on redoing those boilers in the chimney?
I just talked to Scott, told him about the bid, and he has not heard anything about anybody talking to him.
No, you're right in what you heard. They said both of them working on it. That's what Andrew said.
Working on it. I
They're
just
both working on
I just talked
it.
about.
What that means,
Yeah,
He don't know anything about it.
so they haven't talked to Scott about getting a quote. So if you could bring that up at their meeting on Monday, that
Yes, we
the council question on, since Brenda and Andrew said that they were working on it. We want to know if they are getting quotes for the boilers, repair, and the chimney. Rebuild the boilers and bring that chimney down and
We
get
did
it
find
lined.
out, Scott's got 7 pictures. We go, we went up there. We found a major crack. He got pictures. He always said, like, I don't know, 10 feet long on both sides. We found out where it was. The roofing people should have caught it. Because you can see the top where it ran down the ground. I can, it's right over that corner. It's
Up there by the
coming down
clerk's
wall,
office?
and it's going down like a little puddle. It's right before that building. Now, I don't know. He said the roofing people are rolling. Scott did, but nobody. Andrew did call for last week. We went out and looked at the air handlers. They really need to go up and look.
Okay. Well, I know we're getting those air conditioners fixed in the courtroom, but how about the others? Are they,
They're probably about 8 boards, the same age.
so we should be getting quotes to get all those?
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree, I agree. Just replace the whole thing, you know, just replace all of it. And
Yeah, that's
begin.
what we were saying.
Yeah.
Get a better rate on it. You can order 10,
Boilers,
you know.
that probably has to be.
And they're the same age,
But-
it's coming down the road.
So should I do anything about, just wait on the heat, or what's the deal?
Well, she's gonna ask the commissioners Monday at their meeting, that they brought it up, that they are working on it, and so we'd like to know if they're
I
getting.
do know, I bought some new car parts, if anybody wants them, they better get it, it's hard to get.
Oh, yeah.
How do we, Kelly, now, we're just talking here. It doesn't have to do with me, but it does. Why can't we get the commissioners talking also about looking at all the air conditioners? If you get a better price, if we're gonna replace 2, why can't we get them all looked at,
Get them
and we
all.
get a better price?
Exactly,
If
and
they're
I
gonna have to
thought,
be.
I thought that's what our joint meeting was gonna be about today,
Me too. I thought we were gonna get all that correct.
so,
Okay.
so, do you want to vote that we'd like commissioners to look at getting a quote on all those air conditioners? that need?
I would
At
like,
least have a quote so we know. I
yeah,
mean, if it's,
They're all the same age. they're
yeah,
gonna
it's
start-
coming down the pipe,
That's
you know
right.
it is, so
So.
I say make a motion and, yeah.
Okay, that, we'd like commissioners to get a quote on repairing all the air, looking at all of them.
yeah, the chimney, the air conditioners and the heating. And I understand from the commissioners meeting that I attended, and Bill, you were there, that every time we make a motion to do these things, then it's gotta go through the proper channels and you're just chewing up time. But the attorney said that it depends on what kind of a meeting you have or what kind of a motion you want to make. If it's an emergency, then that's a different situation. So,
And that's what he's do this under, this emergency, that's why the joint meeting today.
yeah,
Okay, so I'm just sitting here thinking about these air conditioners. Do we have to bid that out if it's over a certain amount? Am I correct in thinking that?
I believe so.
So how do we keep it under that?
If we replace 2 or 3 at a time.
Yeah,
So let's get,
you know, that cuts your time down.
yeah,
no kidding.
that's right.
You know,
Because otherwise
how many
we're-
are up there, Rick?
Huh?
How many do we have?
About, I think 13 total. But we got, let's see, we got 2, it'd be 1, 2, 3, there's still 3 on the roof. 4, 5, 6, 6 or 7.
Yeah, okay, so there's no way to determine which ones are good or bad,
They're all,
except the ones that we know of. But, you know, maybe we could do 2 or whatever
Yeah.
and stay under that.
On that
radar-
blanket.
Under
Yeah.
that radar and
Okay,
so to speak, and
Yeah.
You could probably work, well, speaking out of turn here, you probably work it out with a company, Scott or whoever else, that they bid. They bid,
I caught it.
I know,
I'm so quick.
they bid on replacement per unit and do 1 a month.
Yeah,
And don't wait for them
Something.
to happen.
right.
yeah, that's
And
right.
that's what
And
we're
it's
thinking.
considered maintenance.
Right. One thing too is, Brenda was talking to us about that ARP. Some of those stuff she's getting back is heating and air quality in the courthouse is covered.
Yeah, I read the air handlers,
Yeah,
but I don't know about heating.
I don't know either.
And they change the rules all the time, because last thing I read was that the interest on that had to go back into that account, which Colleen said last week, they changed it now, and we can put it in a county general,
The
so.
final questions to US Treasury is, I think the 16th is the last day. So the final decisions will be made.
After the
by-
16th,
yeah,
so we'll know in
by-
our August meeting.
Yeah, because I
Okay.
know AIC on their website, or I got an email that said, click here for the latest. And that was like June 26th was
Yeah.
the document. I thought, well, this is probably not even actual.
Yeah, I printed it out and brought it, and then after she's told me it's changed
We might as well
again,
just
so.
file
It comes out
Yeah.
on Thursdays or Fridays, I think, for ASD. But I know air quality is the only thing that's mentioned. It doesn't say about new heating systems unless you create it with the air conditioning, you know, the air quality.
Well, we had a situation where they did check out the air quality here at one time. And somewhere we go back in our notes, we might find that because of the condensation affecting the mural. And that's the leak. So Rick, you got a leak, right?
Big league.
So it's going to have to be fixed. It's all tied in with the chimney, the air conditioning and the heating. You got to get all done. And that's an emergency.
I talked to Scott about the quote right after. Honestly, his question, there's no way you don't want to take it. That's what we said.
Yeah, that's the quote, and you're gonna have to do it if they accept it.
We need
so.
to make a motion to make sure that the commissioners are working on that part of it, or we don't have. to.
I'd say we make a motion that, to recommend the commissioners that we look at replacing the air conditioners one at a time so that we are under the quoting system.
And the chimney,
Well, we
Yeah,
did
we've
that
already
last
done
year.
that,
We,
yeah.
we did that we recommended that they do the rebuild of the boilers and bring the chimney down. So, and they're aware that we have voted that way. And she's gonna follow up on Monday at their meeting, to tell them that we are wondering
Good.
since they mentioned that they are in the process of working on it. And
Yeah,
Bill
I'll
will be here.
I'll be
That's
here.
what I'm gonna say. It'd be nice if a couple of you got here.
I try and have too many.
well, I tell you what, last meeting, right?
I don't know if it's the red.
Yeah, we all know Tom was at the last meeting.
He wasn't doing this, was he?
Well, when our name came up, I had to defend us, right?
Well,
A little
I
bit.
mean, we
Right.
said we weren't gonna fix the air conditioning. We never talked about the air conditioning at all.
Well,
The
at the
last
time,
commissioners, they said the council doesn't, they told the judge that the council didn't want their air conditioners fixed. We said no. And Tom called me as soon as the meeting was over, so we didn't say that. And I said, no, we didn't say that. All we voted for was that the boilers be repaired and the chimney brought down.
and at the time,
That, we just didn't want to do them both at the same time. That's the only thing that we said.
at the time, the air conditioning wasn't broke. It broke
Okay.
a month later.
Well, anyway,
Oh.
we made a voice heard.
We need to,
We had.
are we gonna vote on the
I make a motion.
Okay, make a motion that
I
we,
second.
okay, Kelly second. All those in favor?
I,
Okay, so next month's meeting,
Could I ask what the,
yeah,
what about the roof? I mean, where you have to have a roof? I mean, you.
Everybody ought to really get with Scott and let him show you the pictures. He got proof. And it is really a lovely one. You can see like exactly where that was.
okay. Can you bring that up
Commissioner.
at the commissioners meeting?
Monday?
To Andrew, because I know Andrew's been talking with the roofing people
Okay.
and
All right.
see if he's following up, telling him about that crack. And,
I'll do the best I can.
okay, yes.
You guys have a combination of meetings, commissioners, and council. How do they get up and leave? After they have their little say about it? And it shouldn't have been a full meeting of commissioners and council.
Okay.
And then, you know, you have to have a combination of meetings. And then, you know, you have to have a combination of meetings. And then, you know, you have to have a combination of meetings. And then, you know, you have to have a combination of meetings. And then, you know, you have to have a combination of meetings. And then, you know, you have to have a combination of meetings. And then, you know, you have to have a combination of meetings. And then, you know, you have to have a combination of meetings. And then, you know, you have to have a combination of meetings. And then, you know, you have to have a combination of meetings. And then, you know, you have to have a combination of meetings. And then, you know, you have to have a combination of meetings. And then, you know, you have to have a combination of meetings. And then, you know, you have to have a combination of meetings. And then, you know, you have to have a combination of meetings. And then, you know, you have to have a combination of meetings. And then, you know, you have to have a combination of meetings. And then, you
I wasn't even aware we were having a joint, commissioners didn't even call me to tell me we were having a joint meeting. Tom and Bill mentioned that they thought we were having a joint meeting, but till I got the notice Friday, I didn't
Yeah, I
know
had
for
no
sure that we were having, and no one even told us what the joint meeting was gonna be about. And that's why I kept asking them questions. I thought they were gonna talk to us about they voted on some things that I don't know why.
But I'm just saying, if you're having joint meetings, I mean, after they get done with their meeting, you guys work on your meeting, but you have questions to ask them for that.
Welcome to government.
I know. And I said all along, we need to be having some joint meetings to talk about these things, but okay, one more thing before we.
That thing has been put on by Gwen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Just so for your information, because we have about $5 million that we've kind of kept in reserve. But so far this year, we've spent almost $1.4 million of that. And don't forget, we have to keep $1 million back for the landfill. And one year we had like over $2 million worth of insurance claims for high risk expenses, and we have more employees now, so we just need to keep those figures in mind when we're looking at our budget too. So
We have to remind the general public we can't go into debt.
yeah, that's exactly right. So,
Does it?
Yeah.
Also reported to council that met with the state last week at the landfill. And they're happy with what is done, what's transpired. They're satisfied with the growth that we have right now of vegetation. So they're allowing us to go to the next phase, which we'll be seeing a bill for that, or a bid for that from Bell on filling the ponds in and re-landscaping where the ponds are. So that then we'll have to put new vegetation there and everything. So Roger's working on that to get the criteria together so that he can give it to Daryl, so Daryl can give us a bid.
okay, and Jim Lee mentioned something about got to put a road in.
When they re-landscape, it's going to be an access road around the land.
Okay.
That wasn't there before, but if you knew the way it was laid out now with the ditch to separate the wetlands, when they fill that ditch, it's going to be flat, it'll be a road, so I can get around the maintain.
Okay.
That's what, but that's all.
Okay.
Part of the thing. Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure we keep money
Yes.
back,
The
so.
state requires us.
I know, they require it.
So, I mean, we county agreed to it, so in 98.
Yeah, commissioners at that point agreed to it, and nobody budgeted, so.
All I wanna do is get some people for everybody here, because winter's gonna be here for you.
Yeah, well, just remind them Monday that if they don't get something done, they better be buying space heaters for everybody.
It's drinking all the time.
Oil radiator heaters.
Yeah.
Tom will be there to help.
And then we don't have.
Oh, my God, time out.
And then we don't have enough electrical outlets to run all those heaters, so.
There'll be enough heat to last a whole year if that doesn't happen.
Okay.
I appreciate that. You don't drive that, that's what it is. I'm glad Andrew didn't stick around, because it was a good point that he said.
And we haven't even discussed that damn lease.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing. This leasing of the county highway vehicles, where's that $90,000 come from?
I think in the sale of the ones they have now.
And then.
I don't know much about it.
Yeah, and I need to ask them about that. I mean, do you know anything about this? $90,000, they signed a lease agreement with Enterprise to lease all the county highway vehicles.
Okay, I knew that was a discussion a couple of meetings ago in the commissioners meetings that they were talking about.
Well, they signed the contract.
They signed the contract.
That was a given in the
Where's that
nut.
I
money?
thought it was
That's-
on hold.
It-
I thought it was on hold.
No,
They
I
signed the
thought
contract.
I
I
thought
went
they
to
found out there was a
They
price
said,
problem
Yeah,
because,
there was a glitch or something. I
yeah,
thought.
that's what I heard.
No, they signed a contract.
Well, Bill, you were there.
2 months, not the last meeting, but the
The
meeting
meeting
before,
Mhm.
they It said in here, signed in contract, Bassett Brown.
Hmm?
Is that what the enterprise?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're probably not doing ours because the guy still hasn't given me a price on the lease package vehicles.
Well, I think you were excluded from the contract. It's just the highway right
Yeah,
now.
because he hasn't given us a price yet. It's been
Yeah,
2
there's
months.
13 vehicles for the highway.
Right, the highway.
We replacing the whole fleet or what?
Well, was the ambulance tossed in there too, Holly?
No, no one told us.
I think what was said was they do not have anything for ambulances.
Right, that, I did remember them saying that. They didn't have any specialty vehicles.
And there was something with the sheriff's department, with the police package also. So this is just strictly highway and maybe community corrections. But the 13 vehicles, from my understanding,
Yeah, county highway.
is for county highway.
And there was a contract signed. Is that correct?
That's what Tim said. He said, we signed the contract, the council's gonna have to go along with it.
You know, I think you're right, Carol. I think you're right about that. He said right here.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
And how can you say that when it's not budgeted for that?
I remember them having the conversation about it at the commissioners meeting, that they were gonna check into it. That was like the meeting before.
Once again, the cart's in front of the horse.
Yeah.
It's really been checked into
They're
now.
not supposed to spend money until they.
You know how I feel
Guys,
about
you're wrong,
that.
Tom, you're wrong. It isn't like this, it goes like this.
So the
The horse is behind.
jail's currently at 80 inmates, 39 of which are out of county. 41
Hey, bring that money in.
We were up to 92 or 96.
That's max population we have in there.
What did he say? We have how many?
112 is the max.
86.
86.
In general population,
Right.
12 in the whole, so. Primarily, we don't hold beyond 48 hours. But
How many of our own?
we're still doing.
They say what, 47?
39, I think, are out of county.
Gotcha.
Out?
Out of county, yes, that we're getting paid.
No, we have 0 applicants.
They didn't send any prisoners over?
Jailers.
Oh. But you haven't filled the ones because you don't have any applications, do you? Welcome to my world.
Yep. And we're still on the current situation because of National Guard. We've been going to the guard since last October.
I think our ambulance service and our county police service have quite a job to take care of here in the next 3 months. You've been put to task for a meeting down south or wherever. Our ambulance service is being tasked quite a bit. One of the main, and our roads are being tasked quite a bit. Those are 3 big major areas, if you look at our budget. And you're going to be called for duty to take care of 3,000 people
Oh, or more, plus.
or more, and then you're going to turn around and you hope you cover the county.
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Our ambulance service is called in the same situation. All these things going on.
Where are you gonna park them? Yeah.
Yeah, that's, and it's at their
Parking is
house.
in the field, it's already.
It's already laid out.
And along the highway.
Yeah, I hope they have some records in case it rains.
Keeps always raining.
So, is there still supposed to be somebody at it?
And we're already down for just normal services
Oh, my God.
at the jail.
Oh, it
I
was-
never heard of a guy down.
And I will make another point.
I'm not.
Oh, he's.
The day we
he's
met
popular.
out
Very
there,
Main Street. He's on,
there went a county police heading south to Kingman, and before that, we talked about a situation that's only a matter of time the way the way it's being treated, the way the police is being treated, that somebody doesn't hurt one of ours, shooting through a window or whatever when you walk up. And there it went to Kingman.
For shooting two police officers.
There you go.
This is the second shooting in 8 months that we've had in this county
I was thinking,
towards police.
did one just happen on 74? Somebody's asking me about it. Maybe it was 65. Once a shooting.
We had that. The day that Tom met with us at the jail, we had an incident just an hour after he left, or maybe not even that long, where the sheriff and Sergeant Kemp were shot at on call. So it's here. This is not the day they can reward one deputy.
Well, and think about,
We really haven't discussed this issue.
and I think about the small town of Vatican, the people that influx every weekend.
Right.
Yeah, that's bring people in.
I have seen some pretty interesting characters. So, it's great to have progress, but.
Positive comment.
Yep.
I passed through that jail. I don't have any connection to jail but I passed through it. It's clean. I went through that in my back a few years ago. Boy, what a comparison. But anyway, that jail is well organized. It's clean. And what I saw, the prison, I heard no loud noises. I wasn't in the main gut of it. Don't have to be. But I know the way it was organized, the way it conducted and so on, and people in and out, people coming in, wanting to see you or Terry. It was well organized. It was professional. And that's what I think you are to expect. And I congratulate you for it.
Thank you, Tom.
I want to say, Tom, I'm really surprised you made it in and out.
I'm not that bad. Don't get-
Okay, let's have a motion to adjourn before we talk about any other things.
I will do
We
that.
don't want to have on the record.
Second.
Is that on the record?
Yeah, it is. It's still-
That's all right. I can handle that.
Tom, Bill. All those in favor? Okay. Now, don't forget, August meeting, we start at 8 a.m.
Right.
and we'll go to lunch somewhere.
Anything